Good evening. This is Eugene Chan on Straight Talk. Our guest this evening is the Director of Fire Services, Mr. Andy Yeung. Mr. Yeung is an engineer by profession and has been with the Hong Kong Fire Services Department for over 30 years, during which he has risen through the ranks to Chief Fire Officer in 2017. He also holds a master's degree in public sector management and was appointed as Director of Fire Services last year. Welcome, Andy.
Thank you, Eugene. Thank you for inviting me to your show.
Right. Firstly, we want to congratulate you that we have a search and rescue team that went to Turkey and involved in sort of helping the survivors from a very deadly earthquake that happened. And we are very happy to know that we have rescued 4 survivors from the debris. I'm sure not all the Hong Kong people will know that we have such a great team. Maybe you can tell us, is this the first time we have such a team that will deploy internationally?
Yes, this is the first time we deployed our rescue team to the overseas operations.
Right. How did you manage this team, or sort of to mobilize this in such a short time? Because I think the earthquake just happened over the weekend. We are already over there on a Tuesday, as I believe.
Yes, and our urban search and rescue team is fully prepared logistically, psychologically, and physically for any overseas operations. And the team is able to respond within a short notice and ready to be deployed internationally within 10 hours. That is also the requirement of the INSARAG, that is the International Search and Rescue Advisory Group.
Right. So they can be operational within 10 hours?
Yes.
Well, that's very fast.
Yeah.
This time when we go to Turkey, I believe we also went with the mainland team. I mean, how many people all went together this time?
We have 59 members went to these operations, and to join the more than hundreds of members from the China rescue team.
So, Director, you mentioned that there are also other international teams over at the site. I mean, how good is the Hong Kong and mainland team compared to the international standards?
Yes, the Hong Kong team and the China rescue teams are on a par under the requirement of the INSARAG, that is the International Search and Rescue Advisory Group. The INSARAG is a well-known organization to facilitate the coordination of the international urban search and rescue operations. They also established standards for the user team and to coordinate the international response operation in the aftermath of the earthquake.
Right. For this, as you say, it's the first time the Hong Kong team actually get out there and help in the international level. Are there any unexpected challenges or any difficulties that the team has encountered during those few days of hard work?
Yes. Similar to the international and the local rescue team, our team faced a series of risks and challenges, including the further collapse of structure caused by the aftershock and the very cold weather condition. Right. And the malfunction of the transportation and the communication network, etc.
I believe the team that went there was called the USAR team. I thought it was a SAR Hong Kong team, but it stands for something different. What does USAR stands for?
It stands for the Urban Search and Rescue, and it's a terminology commonly used by the fire and rescue services all over the world.
Right. How many of such members we have that belong to that team? Because you said you have to be ready in 10 hours, and I'm sure you can't send everybody there because Hong Kong needs to be guarded as well. So how many firemen actually, or are there more than firemen in the team?
Yes, we have 160 members recruited from the fire, ambulance, and the workshop staff of the department. They are responsible for the search and rescue operation in the event of the building collapse, landslide, or the major incidents.
Right. Since they have to go all the way to Turkey, can they bring all those equipment because in Hong Kong, I'm sure we've got some heavier equipment here.
Yeah.
So what do? Because they'll be just going there by themselves with some portable equipment, isn't it?
Yes. As I mentioned before, we always make sure that in particular for these overseas operations, we have sufficient operation supplies, and our heavy-duty lifting equipment, cutting equipment, sawing equipment always are in good and efficient working order.
Right. So I'm sure this is, with 160 members, always ready. I mean, are they the most fittest team members of the fire services and ambulance?
Yes, we conduct the open recruitment exercise for the members who should have passed their probationary period and to obtain the highest grades in their annual physical fitness test.
Right. So if someone wants to join this team and having to go through such, for example, such a natural disaster, have you ever encountered anybody saying that, the family don't want them to go, especially in the earthquake, because of the aftershock?
Yes, because I think the Turkey missions is a salient example to display FSD's core values.
Right.
Yes, our rescue teams have displayed their professionalism and bravely displayed in achieving and completing this quite difficult and yet meaningful mission.
Sorry to ask a very direct question. Do they get paid extra to be on this team for this extra mission?
Actually, they only have some allowance for the specialized teams.
Right. So we have this 160 members. Do they do other work as well during the time, or they are mainly training full-time for this mission?
The urban search rescue team is only the secondary duty of the member. They also require to carry out the firefighting work and the rescue work.
Right. So from your point of view as a director, are you happy with the performance this time, that they saved 4 survivors?
Yes, I am really proud of our team can save 4 the people of Turkey.
Right.
Yep.
So before we move on to another more local subject, I want to ask you, with this experience, they come back being very proud and being able to help Turkey, especially working alongside with the mainland team, achieving a good international standard. So what other plans have you got for them in the future?
Yes, looking ahead, we would like to enhance the coordination and the collaboration and the experience sharing with our child rescue team through regular training and operation. And we are also planning to apply to the INSARAC, what I mentioned before, that is the International Urban Search and Rescue Advisory Group, to classify our team as the medium-level urban search and rescue team.
Right. Right, so let's move on to more locally. Last week there was a sort of a large fire in Tsim Sha Tsui, up to level 4.
Yeah.
So how many fire calls actually do you get in Hong Kong? Because we only get to see that in the news, but I'm sure you get many calls.
Yes, in 2022, approximately 34,000 fire calls were received.
Right. So about nearly 100 calls per day.
Yeah.
Are they mainly from domestic homes, or they from work or industrial buildings?
Yeah. The major cause of the fire are in the domestic buildings.
Right.
Yeah.
What are the main reasons? I mean, we have to be very careful.
Yes, the overcooking of the stuff is the major cause of the fire. Yeah. And the other causes of the fire are the electrical fault and the careless handling of the lighter smoking materials.
Right. So if we want to have a safe home, how safe do you say are Hong Kong homes in general? Are we safe?
Yes, sure.
From a fire point of view?
Yes, yes. You may wish to look at, as compared with the figures such as the rate of death and the rate of injury per 100 fire call. This figure in Hong Kong is relatively low as compared with the metropolitan city like the New York, Tokyo, and it is crystal clear that clear that, and the Hong Kong is a safe place to live and work.
Right, just now you mentioned one of the major reasons is overcooking of food without looking at with what they're cooking, or even electrical appliances. Anything else they can help? I mean, sometimes, that's all we can do.
Yes.
What if we're sleeping? I mean, if there's a fire, no one will wake us up. It's very dangerous.
Yes.
So is there anything that we can do?
Yes, apart from the good housekeeping and the regular inspection, maintenance of your building, what we call the FSI, that is the fire services installations. And I think the installation of the standalone fire detector can help to improve the home fire safety.
Right. Maybe we'll go to a break now, and when we come back, we talk more about this standalone fire detector. Viewers, don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Straight Talk. We have been talking with Director of Fire Services, Mr. Andy Yeung, about the deployment of our urban search and rescue team to the earthquake in Turkey, and then about how we can fireproof our homes better in Hong Kong. So, Director, in the first part, we just touched on the standalone fire detector. So what exactly is it, and is it readily available that we can just buy one and put it at home? And how many do we need?
Yes, the standalone fire detector is very popular worldwide and proven as a highly cost-effective means in minimizing the losses in case of fire. Therefore, we have been actively promoting the wider use of the standalone fire detector in order to enhance the building fire safety and provide better protection of life and property in Hong Kong. You know, Eugene, the standalone fire detector can give early warning to the occupants, in particular at the incipient stage of the fire. And when the fire occurs, and it is extremely dangerous for the occupants if they are still asleep.
As I said earlier.
Yes, the standalone fire detector allows the occupants to escape as early as possible before the smoke, the hot gases, filling up the escape route or staircases.
Right. As we watch some of the television shows, often people get choked or they fainted because of smoke and dangerous poisonous gases. So what does this standalone fire detector do? Does it just detect the smoke and then it will just make a big siren? Is it what it does?
Yes. The standalone fire detector will give warning upon the activations, and upon receive such alarm, the occupants can escape from their unit as soon as possible.
Right. So how many do we need at one home usually?
One home is about approximately 3 or 4 for the living room, for the bedrooms.
Right.
Is enough.
Right. How expensive is it, and how easy is it to install it?
It's a lot expensive. Its cost may range about 200 to 800 depending on its functions, and you may wish to purchase from this detector from the online platform or the local shop.
Do we need any qualified person to install this?
No. Regarding the legislations on the standalone fire detector, the standalone fire detectors fall under the FSI definition, that is the fire services installation definitions of the ordinance. And in the old days, the occupants, the owners, are required to engage a registered fire services installation contractor for the installation, maintenance, and inspection of the detector. And the cost involved in engaging the contractor may discourage the people from installing the standalone fire detector.
Right.
And therefore, we proposed the amended legislations in 2021. And under the amended legislations, the owner the occupier of the premises or the buildings are no longer required to engage the FSI contractor to install, maintain, and inspect the detector, as long as the detector are installed on their own intention.
Right. So, Director, sounds like this standalone fire detector is sort of a kind of we kind of pay a very small price,
Yeah.
and instead coming back to really protect our lives and properties.
Yeah.
So, how is the fire service department going to promote this? Because I'm sure not everyone has this independent standalone fire detectors. I have them myself.
Yeah.
And what would you do to promote that, so that
Yeah.
apart from coming to the show, what else would you do? Because it sounds like a very efficient way of safekeeping.
Yeah. FSD has been actively promoting the wider use of the standalone fire detector. Apart from the educational promotional program through various means such as television, radio, seminars in collaboration with the Home Affairs Department, we also conduct the home fire safety visit to the vulnerable households to help them installing the standalone fire detectors, including the household in 3 new buildings. As you know, the CE announced his policy suggests that the government would install and distribute the fire extinguisher, fire blankets, as well as the standalone fire detector to the needy occupants in the old building, with a view to improving the fire safety of old building. Up to now, we have installed a total of 1,500 standalone fire detector to the needy residents.
Right. Hopefully, more will be done, because especially for the needy, if there's no one local is looking after them, I think a smoke alarm would definitely wake them up and give them the best chance should a fire do happen. Let's move on to another area that I'm sure your fire services team or your colleagues are very good at. Is another emergency. It's like cardiac arrest. We also watched on television that if somebody had a heart attack, they will quickly call 999 and you guys will come and help them. And how many calls for such cardiac arrest do you get per year?
And approximately 9,000 number of the cardiac arrest cases were handled by our ambulance. And however, we know that the rate of survival to the hospital discharge is approximately about the 1.5%, which is lower than the global average of 8%.
Well, so that's quite alarming. So every call, only 1 to 2 persons survive.
Yeah.
Compared to other places, you have 8 persons who survive. Why is that the case? I mean, when you say Hong Kong rescue team is just as good anywhere, and in Hong Kong we do well in most things, why are we so low compared to the world standard of 8%? Why is that?
I think because the number of the AED can be accessible in Hong Kong is an issue.
Right.
And also the community emergency preparedness training, including the use of AED and the CPR, is another issue.
Right. Yep. When you said CPR, I'm sure you're referring to the cardiopulmonary resuscitation that we sort of give two breaths and then 15 thumps onto the chest. Isn't that enough? Why do you say that we need AEDs?
Yes, you know, the most effective way to handle the cardiac arrest case is continuously perform the effective CPR. But however, you know, the CPR alone can only maintain the limited blood circulation of the patient and cannot restore the normal heart rhythm of the patient. Therefore, the AED is very important in saving life.
Well, AED stands for Automated External Defibrillator.
Yes.
I mean, for healthcare professionals, we have that in our establishments. But for the general public, they don't get access to it. And also, although you said they've got a voicemail sort of teaching them what to do, but most people will be too scared to help. So how would you actually help to break this barrier so that our 1.5% will go up at least closer to the 8%?
Yes, in order to further promote the use of AED and the CPR, the FSD has been actively referring to the international and the mainland experience,
Right.
and actively launching and developing the community emergency preparedness strategy, including the use of AED and CPR. And we also have a slogan, yes, anyone can use
Right.
AED. And, the slogan implies
Anyone can use it.
yes, regardless of anyone or you, regardless of your occupation,
Yes.
sex, age, body size, can help out in the community for emergency.
Right, Director, compared to the standalone fire detector, which is only a few $100, the AED is at least $10,000 to $20,000. It's more
Yes.
expensive for people to just buy one to put at home. So how can we know, just in case there's an AED around, is there anything that we can find out?
Yes, we have a program called the Detector that stands for the Centralized AED Registry for Emergency. And this is an online information platform, and it provides the details of the AED that is 1,600 throughout Hong Kong. Such information is provided by the participating government departments and the organizations. The objective of this program is to facilitate timely access to the locations of AED.
So we can find them even if you don't have one.
Yes, and I just mentioned before, and this is an online information platform, and the people can access this platform through various means such as mobile phone, computer, other portable device, without the need to download any apps, program, or register in advance.
Right, okay. We want to thank Director Andy Yeung for sharing with us the impact the fire services have made both internationally and locally. He has also shown us how simple things like installing a smoke alarm and AEDs can save the lives of our loved ones. We really do need to take heed of this as a community. Have a good week and good night.